Hello world and true believers. This is Brenda, a lost Aspie girl, and I wanted to make today's video about the theory of mind quiz that they give kids. With the one with the ball and the baskets with, I think, it doesn't matter what the names are, I'm just going to call them Sally and Jill. And after I got diagnosed with ASD, I went into the Aspie thing and, researched and read everything that I could on it. And I was reading this article, and it was explaining what mind blindness is. And if you don't know what mind blindness is, you can go back and look at. I have some videos on it. So I don't really feel like getting into it right now. But so it explains what mind blindness is and what theory of mind is, and all that kind of stuff. And then it explains that quiz. And I'll tell you what the quiz is. And I started reading it. So there's Sally and Jill in this room, and they both have baskets and they both have balls. And Jill leaves the room, and when she leaves the room, she leaves her ball in her basket, and she comes back, and the question is, for the children, where do you think she looks for her ball when she comes back to the room? Now, when I was taking this, I decided not to read any further to find out what the answer was. I decided to try to answer it myself to see what I would come up with. And the first thing that went through my head is, we don't have all the variables here. We don't have all the information. How can we answer this properly? Because that's the first thing that popped in my head. The second thing that popped in my head is me and my sister when we were little. Like, she liked to play pranks on me. And if this was me and my sister, and I left the room and I put my ball in that basket, the last place that I would look for my ball when I came back was that basket, because I would have known that she would have moved it. So the next thing I thought of, we don't know the relationship between these two little girls. Are they friends? Are they sisters? Like, has this happened before? Without knowing their relationship, how do we know where she would look, right? And then when I went and I read the answer, and it says, she would look in that basket, I'm like, that's an assumption. Theory of mind, and I've said this before, and it's one of the first time that I really got an inkling that, the whole concept that having ASD is like a defect in any way is it just because the neurosocial brain is the dominant mode of thinking. But if you think about it, neither answer is correct. I mean, I think neurologists know that. But the fact that someone has a lack of theory of mind does not in any way mean they're defective. It's just a different way of processing the information. Because actually, that way of thinking is actually an assumption. Because they have no information at all, and they're assuming that the person would just look in the same basket that they left it in. Like, think about kids all the time who know each other. Think about two little girls that play together. They leave a room, and like, think about if you have a sibling or a friend when you were a kid, and if that person was a prankster or something like that, or they weren't, like, unless you knew all that about that person, why would you automatically assume that the person would look in the basket where they left it when they came back in the room? So, and the only evidence that's given to the child with Asperger's is the fact that the other person took the ball from that basket and put it in that ball. So I'm thinking that doesn't, yeah, they might lack theory of mind, but that just says they have an analytical brain. They're analyzing the evidence. So it's just a different way of processing it. Because even as an adult, I didn't immediately come up with that she would look in that. My thought was that she wouldn't look in the same basket when you came back. It was a different way. And I think the reason I'm saying you should give that to adults is because children don't have all that experience necessarily. And that might be just analyzing the evidence. But as an adult with Asperger's, we're not just analyzing the events. We're analyzing things in our own history and anecdotal evidence in our own lives and in other people's lives, and things that we vicariously experience through reading books and things of that nature. All of this is going to come to the forefront. And I think all the people with Asperger's are going to come to the same conclusion. We don't have all the evidence. So I don't think it should just be a multiple choice for adults. It should be, which do you choose, in the basket somewhere else, or in the other basket, and how did you come to that conclusion? Because I think the thought process of how they came to that conclusion is just as significant as the answer itself. And I don't think that researchers are always looking for the anecdotal evidence. They just want to look at that. And then I think that so often that the intent and all these things are applied to, I think that's why I think there's so much problems with executive functioning, because I don't think that the way therapists deal with executive functioning they don't deal with it properly, because again, you're applying the same motivations and intentions and things of that nature to people with Asperger's that you have with people with a neurosocial brain. And because it's very different, you have to, like, the thought process behind it is just as significant. And I want to get into that in a different video, but so I'm digressing, apologies. But I think that's a significant, and I think that's something that should be looked into more. That what was the thought process behind these kids, of why they answered that way? I understand it shows that they lack theory of mind, but what does it show that they? But it actually is beneficial in a different way. What does it show that they do have? That the other kids, it shows lateral thinking, right there. It shows analytical thinking. So those are two beneficial ways of thinking. The people that the social brain has a difficult time overcoming and sometimes gets tricked very often. I mean, they have all kinds of shows and books on that and everything like that, of how the social brain can be tricked because of the fact that they make those types of assumptions and take those types of shortcuts. So again, one is not necessarily worse than the other. They're just different ways of processing information. So hope that helps you guys out today. And let me know your thoughts, and hopefully I'll have more for you soon. Thanks. Toodles. Bye.